For more than 30 years, Dr. Linda Henman has been dedicated to developing magnetic leaders. In her content-rich, but at the same time humor-heavy keynotes, Linda helps audiences understand what magnetic leadership is and how leaders should implement it.
April 16, 1992 also started like an ordinary day, until I got the phone call requesting a parent-teacher conference. Do any of you have your very own children? Then you know this one's not going to have a happy ending either. I showed up to school where a very solemn second grade teacher said that she and the principal wanted to talk to me because my second grade daughter, Laura, needed therapy. Laura could be a handful, I'll admit that, but I had no idea that she needed a therapeutic intervention or Dr. Phil to help her out of it. I said, well, tell me why you think Laura needs therapy. She said, well, apparently, the second graders had decided the cafeteria food wasn't very good. So when they complained to the second grade teacher, she said, if you don't like it, bring something from home. Unbeknownst to me, my daughter took dog food. And she sat at the second grade table and ate her lunch of protest. When the other second grader said, what are you eating? She said, dog food. It's better than what they serve here. You should try it. So they did. I want you to picture the entire second grade looking like basset hounds surrounding a table having their lunch. I said to them, wait a minute. Are you telling me my daughter got the entire second grade to eat dog food? That's what we're telling you. And I said, I see great leadership potential here. Please don't squelch it. But they stuck to their guns, and they said, we think Laura needs therapy. I'll tell you, I was this close to asking them for the phone number of an Alpo 12-step program.
She draws from thousands of hours of executive coaching and consulting experience to explain how leaders can align talent and business decisions.
Conservative estimates indicate that a bad hire will cost your company approximately 1 year of that person's salary. Let's say this person makes $50,000 a year. Okay. If you avoid a bad hire or retain a star, it's the same $50,000. You're going to lose it either way. If the person walks out or if you get them in, you can't get rid of them. So $50,000. Let's say 100 people in this room leave this conference with enough ideas to save one $50,000 person in the next year. Or you leave this conference with enough ideas to avoid hiring a $50,000 mistake in the next year. Somebody do the math for me. 50 times 100. $5 million this year alone if only half of you do this.
A dynamic keynote speaker, in-demand executive coach, and business strategist, Linda delivers the eyewitness, in-the-trenches accounts of her work with CEOs and military leaders to explain ways to accelerate productivity.
In my work, I have found that magnetic leaders need to do three major things. They need to set the direction for the organization. They need to make high-caliber decisions about where that's going to go. And then they need to develop the bench. How many bosses have I heard say, it's just easier for me to do it myself? And some nods. It is easier to do it yourself. But then you have to do it yourself every time. That's not coaching and that's not mentoring. Two problems with that. One is you are going to hear, do you have a minute? And that minute is never, ever less than 10 minutes. So if you have 6 direct reports who are knocking on your door saying, do you have a minute? 6 times a day, we're going to do some more math. That's an hour a day. That you are answering questions to people and making their decisions and solving their problems, you're doing their work. You are not mentoring them and you are not coaching them. You are doing their work, but it feels good. I'm right. I know how to jump in and fix things. It's so much faster. I know. I've heard this all. But it's not good mentoring and it's not good coaching. because it fixes it for a minute. Now, do any of you have anything at all in the rest of your life where you'd like to spend an hour a day? No, I'm sorry, Linda, I have no life. This is it. If I went home an hour earlier, I would just knock over convenience stores and get into all kinds of trouble.
The author of the critically acclaimed Magnetic Boss, Linda explains the skills that helps leaders move to the next level of success, theirs, their teams, and the organization's.
Actions speak louder than words. When you communicate with your direct reports, the most significant way that you communicate is your nonverbal behavior. The things you encourage, the things you model, and the things you put up with. All of those things say much more about you than any words you could possibly say. We worry a lot about what we're going to say. Ladies and gentlemen, your people have heard all you have to say. They don't need to listen to you anymore. You need to listen to them.
Applying her original research on the Vietnam prisoners of war, Linda outlines ways leaders can manage change so they can turn challenges to opportunities.
Why can some people adjust to this sort of change and others can't? I wanted to understand. I wanted to know why some people can do this differently than others. So in 1995, I moved to Pensacola, Florida, to study the Vietnam prisoners of war. The reason I was so interested in this group is that unlike other groups in captivity, the Vietnam group was showing very little evidence of post-traumatic stress disorder. In fact, what we were finding is that these men who had been tortured, starved, isolated, and beaten for longer than 5 years in some cases, weren't in any worse shape than many of the people in metropolitan areas. So why was that? The POWs shared with me there were 4 main reasons. First of all, they had a sense of purpose. Secondly, they believed in something bigger than themselves. They knew they had to take care of one another, and they maintained their sense of humor.
Whether she talks about strategy, communication, change, or leadership development, Linda leaves audiences with solutions that are pragmatic in their approach and sound in their foundation. Ask Linda to open or close your next event. You can count on her to deliver a high-content message in a way your audience will remember.